What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. This is our NFL week number 15 betting preview. We're going to talk sides, totals, props, moneyline underdog parlays, anytime touchdown parlays. But of course, as always, we're going to build our Sunday six-pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey. Stuck, what is going on? You've been hot this year. You're up 47-34 in our six-pack contest. How's it going, man?
Good. It's a good week for the pod. I think we both went 2-1. I think we both hit our totals.
Yeah. No. I didn't hit my total.
Well, I hit my total, hit my money line
Steelers.
dog. You got
Yeah.
Wilson touchdown. Sadly,
Yep.
we couldn't get the long shot in, but it was a good week. But I will say it was lucky, and that was nice for once. I had the Raiders.
Oh, that
So
was amazing.
shout out Brandon Jones for the delay of game. Shout out Pete Carroll for kicking the field goal. One of the luckiest covers I will ever have. So I will cherish that one. That
Talk about a
was
lucky cover. Didn't you have you were with me on the Monday night under two, right? Like the Jalen Hurts just throw the ball away at the end to save the under.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't have the under there. I had the Chargers tease just to close out a teaser.
Ah,
But yeah, it's a good week, but who cares? We're on to the next, and we are on to week 15 with some crazy quarterback news. I mean, we don't know who's going to be quarterback for the Jets. Is Philip Rivers, grandfather Rivers, going to be the quarterback? So we'll talk about those games later, and then we have some bangers with major playoff implications. Bills, Patriots, Ravens, Bengals, Chargers, Chiefs, uh, Packers, Broncos, Lions, Rams. So yeah, there's some bangers on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to it and hopefully can find some winners.
yeah, I'll probably get your thoughts at the end of the six pack on just some of those AFC teams if you're buying low on any of them. But let's go through the six pack first. Start us off. Week number 15, Sunday six pack. Where are you going first?
All right, for my first pick of the Week 15 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills pick at the New England Patriots. This time of year, not going to find a ton of like huge line discrepancies between what I make numbers and what I don't, but I like this for a number of reasons. One, I'm going to war with Josh Allen, who I just need to win the game. If you're interested in trends as a dog or a favorite of less than a field goal, he's 30, 14, and 2 against the spread. Only Brady and Breeze have been more profitable. 18, 8, and 2 against the spread on the road. 19 and 7 against the spread when the spread is under 3 in either direction. So like that's 73%. Does I just need Allen to win the game in a game that's supposed to be competitive. I'm taking him over pretty much anyone right now. Also, home teams off a bye. You're going to hear a lot about this. Vrabel 6-0 against the spread after the bye. I get it. Like one of the games, it was a Tuesday with COVID. There was Taylor Heineke, rookie Trevor Lawrence. I don't put too much stock in that. I do think home teams off the bye are overrated in market in general. I mean, over the past 10 years, 42% against the spread, 40% in the division where home field advantage is, about 50% less overall. It's cold. There's potential snow outdoors, 1 o'clock start. Like Bills are all used to all of those things. May in the past has had some issues with conditions. That's not if it snows or if there's any conditions. Yeah, I mean, Allen is as good as it gets. We saw that last week. There's also some potential regression coming for the Patriots. They've been pretty lucky in a number of different areas. They're 14 of 18 on fourth downs, number one in the league. They're number one in EPA per play on fourth downs, 1.7. I mean, you're talking like uh, on average, when they go for it, close to a field goal per game. Their opponents are 7 of 22, so their defense is number three in the NFL on fourth down. So their fourth down swings in these games have been pretty drastic in benefit of the Pats. They've also had 15 fumbles. They've only lost 7. They've recovered 70% of their opponent's fumbles. Drake May, look, he's been amazing. I'm in on him, but he's been a bit fortunate. He has 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He has 22 big time throws, 13 turnover worthy plays. Allen, for example, is 22 to 10 and 18 to 11. So like right in line with what you would think. Here's the thing. And then how I think this game's going to play out. So the Bills don't play a ton of single high, and they play a lot of zone. That's not ideal against May, who I think is going to move the ball here, but I think that the Bills can bow up in the red zone, and that's where the Patriots have lots of issues. They're 24th in red zone touchdown percentage on offense, and they really just struggle to finish drives once the field kind of condenses and you take away that deep ball of Drake May. The Bills, on the other hand, pretty good at finishing off drives. They're ninth in the NFL, and the Patriots on defense are dead last in red zone touchdown percentage allowed. Additionally, their run defense, which was great early on in the season, well, you lost Milton Williams. Tonga's dealing with an injury, but since they lost Milton Williams, 31st in rush success rate allowed. That is critical against the Bills, so we know when to run the ball. Yes, they might get Jared Wilson back, their guard, but he's been terrible. I don't really care about that. It's the tackle. Will Campbell's been good as a rookie. His backup, Vadarian Lowe, is unplayable. He'll be in there at left tackle. The Bills can still get pressure. I do believe Spencer Brown is going to be a go back for the Bills on the offensive line. Bosa practiced today. That's important because they can get pressure. Bernard, who I think is washed, but rather have Thompson in there. He might be back. So Bills trending up health-wise. First meeting these teams played, the Bills had 3 turnovers and 11 penalties, and the Pats won on a walk-off 50-yard field goal. And here's the thing. Here's who the Pats have played the single easiest schedule by far in the NFL. Everyone knows this, but listen to the quarterbacks they beat. Right? They lost to Rodgers and Geno at home. Their best win is the Bills by 3. Here are the quarterbacks they beat besides Allen. Dart, which was a special teams game. The Giants special teams melted down. Bryce Young, another special teams meltdown. Penix, they won by 1 on a missed extra point. Like, I didn't even get into the special teams. Like, the Pats special teams been good, their return game, but they've had these games where these other teams just implode on special teams. Flacco without Chase, Justin Fields, a tanked Baker Mayfield, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, Spencer Rattler, and Tua. I mean, you're talking about 7 of their 10 wins have come against quarterbacks that are no longer starting or rookies. So, I mean, I think we're at the peak of the market on the Pats. They've won 10 straight. They've covered 8 of 10. I'm going to trust Allen to get his revenge here, get it done on the road. I think the Bills will be able to run the ball here. I think they're going to finish drives off more efficiently, and I think they get the win. Give me the Buffalo Bills pick in Foxborough.
Yeah, I should be joining you on this. I agree. I think the Patriots, they're really good. I had over their win total. I think that cashed already, but they are still, I think, like an above average, not elite team. The Bills have been elite at times. They're probably not elite this year, but desperate, kind of a must-win game for them just because of the division. They're still probably not going to catch New England, but I still think Buffalo is going to go all out for this one. So I agree, especially at a pick. All right. For my first pick in the second overall of the Week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Green Bay Packers -2 at the Denver Broncos. And on the surface, this just kind of looks like 2 teams that are pretty good. Denver's at home, has a good home field advantage. So you say, why fade the Broncos? Schematically, I think this is a big edge for the Packers. The Broncos defense plays single high safety at the 6th highest rate, about 55%. Jordan Love, first in EPA per dropback against single high, 1st in total EPA against single high, 6th in success rate against single high out of 39 qualified quarterbacks. And what does the Broncos defense do even more than play single high? They play man coverage. They're 1st in the league in man coverage rate. Jordan Love, 1st in the league in EPA per dropback against man coverage, 2nd in total EPA versus man, 3rd in success rate against man, and 2nd in total touchdown passes against man coverage with 17. So Jordan Love can beat this coverage. You got Jaden Reed back. That helps, and Musgrave. So the big loss is Tucker Kraft, obviously. He was great against man coverage, especially single high looks. But who was even more efficient on, obviously, a smaller sample? Luke Musgrave. So this might be a game where they can unleash him a little bit. Their tight ends have just been kind of all splitting snaps, but really like this spot. Also, if you're going to beat the Broncos finally, you're probably going to have to convert 3rd down, red zone. Broncos #1 defense on 3rd down, #1 defense in the red zone. Packers on offense, #1 on 3rd down, #2 in the red zone. So I think Green Bay can get the ball in the end zone here more than most of these teams have against the Broncos. And that's important because the Broncos, every game almost is a one-score game for them. Let's see. So they had a 8-point win over the Titans, 1-point loss to the Colts, 3-point loss to the Chargers. They beat the Eagles by 4, the Jets by 2, the Giants by 1, the Texans by 3, the Raiders by 3 and 7, the Chiefs by 3, and the Commanders by 1 in that crazy game a couple weeks ago. So all these games are not just one-score games, but a lot of them are inside a field goal or at most a field goal. So Green Bay being able to turn what a lot of offenses end up, kicking a field goal into a touchdown here, I think is big. Also, Green Bay's had kicking issues this year, but their kicker McManus has kicked in Denver for a good portion of his career. So I'm hoping that, pays off and he does not shank kicks, because Green Bay, that's been one of the reasons Green Bay has just been, they're a luck side for us this week too, because, and that's part of the reason they've just been terrible at kicking, but luck sides this year are 60.5% against the spread at 23 and 15, covering by 2.6 points per game. And also, by the way, like the matchup on the other side as well. Pack played zone, third most. Zone. Yeah, a lot of zone. And we know, just like Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix struggles against zone. Now, against the Raiders, I thought he did a decent job in that last matchup, but you look up and he still had to complete like 31 passes just to get 216 yards or whatever it was. He's 22nd in EPA per dropback against zone, 8th versus man, 6.2 yards in attempt versus zone. That's 35th, bottom 5 of 39 qualifiers in yards per attempt against zone coverage. Against man, he's middle of the pack at 18th. And then his success rate against zone coverage, bottom 3, 37th at 42%. Against man, he's top 10. So this is just schematically a perfect matchup for the Packers. And they can, more than most offenses, get the ball in the end zone against this Denver D. So give me the Green Bay Packers -2. We consider playing the money line if it doesn't, if the number is still hovering.
Yeah, I'm waiting on a cheap money line.
Yeah.
Just lower scoring, kicking issues. But I agree from a schematic perspective. Yeah, you don't have to convince me to fade the Broncos. By the way, we're fading two teams that have won 10 straight games. They might both close as home dogs since 1980, when both teams have their starting quarterbacks. It's only happened one time.
Oh.
Never in the regular season. And it happened in the 2005 AFC Championship game when Ben Roethlisberger faced Brady. Pitt was a +2.5 at home on a 10-game winning streak, and the Patriots won 41-27. So that's it. That's the only time it's happened. The last time before then, 1976, between a game between the Steelers and Raiders. But I agree, it's great schematic matchup, big quarterback advantage. And I think the Pack get it done. They're starting to ascend and stamp themselves as a legit contender for a Super Bowl. So yeah, I like the Packers as well.
All right, we go next.
For my second pick and the third overall of the Week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs -4.5 at home against the Los Angeles Chargers. Everyone's been betting the Chiefs over the last month. I've avoided the desperation must win. I thought that they were overvalued in most spots. I think that this line is fine to back them for a number of reasons. One, Chiefs close higher than this against the Texans, who have a couple points better than the Chargers right now. The Chargers, they're on short rest after a Monday night game with travel, going into what it's going to feel like, 10 degrees for an indoor team. That's probably not great for Justin Herbert's hand. The Chargers also just are incapable of operating a functional offense right now with the current state of their offensive line. They give up a 70% pressure rate last week. 70. Herbert was sacked 7 times. That was against an Eagles defense that doesn't even get as much pressure as the Chiefs, and they didn't have Jalen Carter. And this is what that offense, since they've had offensive line issues, has done on the road. Lost to the Giants, barely beat the Dolphins, got destroyed by the Jags, and barely beat the Titans. this offense just is not going to be able to function in a hostile environment with the state of that offensive line and a defense that can get pressure at a top 5 rate. The Chiefs have also played the significantly tougher schedule. They're 35 net points better than the Chargers. They've just been very unlucky in one-score games compared to last year. And I like the matchup for the Chiefs offense. Chargers play the highest rate of zone in the league. Mahomes, even with this offense, which is still wonky at times, it still shreds zone. Their receivers kind of struggle to get separation against man. But against zone this year, 55% success rate, 45% against man, 74% higher EPA per play against zone. They do have some offensive line injuries, the Chiefs, but it looks like Trey Smith is practicing today. That's a good sign. Um, I liked what I saw from Esapole if they have to go to him. But this is a Chargers team. This isn't the Texans. I mean, the Chargers are 24th in pressure rate. So they're going to play a lot of zone, don't get a ton of pressure. I trust Mahomes to move the ball here. And I trust the Chiefs to get pressure and just crumble this Chargers offense that's completely broken right now. They played a just defunct Eagles offense that didn't have Lane Johnson. They didn't have Jalen Carter. They turned the ball over 5 times, and they needed a goal line stop in overtime to win at home. This team is not good right now. So I think the Chiefs have been like they've been on the precipice of winning like that. I mean, they should have, I don't know, 7-8 wins this year. This is like a take out your frustration game with revenge from earlier in the season. I think the Chiefs win by 14 plus. Give me Kansas City at home.
Yeah, I'll have more on this game in a bit, so we'll just go to my next pick. But before we continue with the Sunday six pack, just a reminder, you could tail the bets we discussed in today's show by finding the quick slip link in the podcast and video description. You can also go to actionnetwork.com/bet now to find those quick slips, or even better, sign up for Action Pro. Action Pro users get real-time alerts as soon as experts like Stuckey, Brandon Anderson, and myself track picks in the app. You'll also get real-time money percentages to see where the smart money is flowing, and access to our NFL player prop projections powered by Sean Kerner and the predictive analytics team. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro to get started and use promo code POD20, that's POD20, for $20 off an annual subscription. The rest of our Sunday six pack is coming up, but first I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from our sponsor. The Action Network podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings' same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Action Network when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. All right, for my second pick, the 4th overall of the Week 15 Sunday six-pack, we're going with the Minnesota Vikings plus 6.5 at the Dallas Cowboys. Be sure to shop around. I've seen anything from 5.5 to 6.5 out there as we record this, but Minnesota's defense, I think, is interesting here because it's held its last 3 opponents under 300 total yards, including the Packers in Week 12, to 288. They're averaging 345 against everyone else. The Seahawks to just 219 the next week. They're averaging 365 against everyone else. Dak Prescott, he's been good against the blitz. He's been good, period.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. You worried about him against the blitz and them hitting explosive passes?
Yeah, so in theory, Dak Prescott, good against the blitz, but he's been so good that his EPA per dropback actually decreases when he's blitzed versus when he's not blitzed. So it's kind of like a situation where I'm just going to kind of buy low on this Vikings defense. I still don't think they're quite getting the respect. I know it was the Commanders that they shut out, which is not a big deal, but they have everything kind of set up here to at least give the Cowboys some problems. I mean, the Cowboys have just been coasting here. We'll see about CeeDee Lamb. Looks like he probably is going to go.
I'm surprised by that. He was like fencing. That looked like a serious concussion. I know he has a couple extra days, but yeah, it looks like he's trending in the right direction, which surprised.
Yeah, 9 days. 9 days is usually the median, so that's kind of right on there when you go down on a Thursday. It's kind of right in that window. So we'll see. But I mean, could get lucky here. And maybe get some CD Lamb out last minute, something like that. Who knows? I mean, practice reports on Wednesday, it's hard to really tell. But flipping over to the offense, JJ McCarthy still not good. I do like that. O'Connell apparently went to him before that last game and said, just stop worrying about all the technical stuff and just make quick decisions. Don't worry about like the footwork and all that stuff. And he did look better. Now he's
Yeah, his
been
completion
unlucky.
percentage over expectation was about just at like 0, so that was
Yeah,
way better. He still had
yeah,
some mechanical issues, but the whole operation looked better.
yeah. And I mean, if that was part of the cause, that's a good thing then, because we know O'Connell usually is good with these quarterbacks, no matter who they are. So there had to be something there. So if he figured that out, you're getting some added value here. But he's also just been unlucky. A 6.6% drop rate, that's fourth highest of 39 qualified quarterbacks. Dallas plays a ton of zone. McCarthy's drop rate versus zone even higher, 7.1%, which is also top 4 out of 39 qualifiers. So Dallas defense still dead last in passing yards allowed, dead last in passing touchdowns allowed, second to last in adjusted net yards in attempt, second to last in DVOA, third to last against the pass. So if there's any defense that McCarthy can have another decent game against, it's this Dallas defense. Minnesota on the year 23rd in DVOA, Dallas 19th. So Dallas's schedule's been a little bit easy too. But you look at weighted DVOA, which takes more recent games into account. Minnesota 21, Dallas 20. So the quality differential between these teams isn't a ton. It's just the quarterback play for the Vikings has been so up and down Wentz is like the high watermark essentially for quarterback play. So there is some upside here, even beyond the number, but I make this number well inside of 6, around 4.5 ish. So for me, it's just a value thing. Weeks 15 and 16 road dogs by at least a field goal, but no more than one possession. So +3 to +8, 121, 81, and 7, 60% against the spread over the past 2 decades. Give me the Vikes.
Yeah, this line's too high. I mean, we're asking the Cowboys to win by 7+ with still a very shaky defense. And yeah, I was on the Vikings last week. I thought they were undervalued in
What a
market.
play.
Well, yeah, that was nice. Those are they're not easy in the NFL to find those that are just sweat free. The Vikings had a 19 play, 12-minute, 99-yard touchdown drive. Uh, that was um, that was very fun to watch. So yeah, their defense now is healthy. Offensive line also trending up health wise. They've had so many offensive line injuries. Like before last week, they only had one game where their starting 5 all played together on the offensive line. So yeah, I think this line is too high.
By the
So
way,
I'll be with you.
sorry, I was gonna say Dallas Cowboys number 30 in DVOA against number 1 wide receivers. Vikings did all that last game.
Without
Justin
Jefferson
Jefferson
doing
still
anything.
nothing. So yeah, there's a lot of upside I think with this Vikings team. I mean, it could go horribly wrong, obviously, but that's any bet. So yeah, give me the give me the Vikes.
All right. We're gonna recap our quarterbacks. So far, I have Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. What is going on? I
Okay,
might
yes,
be
this is
getting
my week to
sick.
catch up to you. Then
I might be
I got
getting sick.
McCarthy and who's my other one? Oh no, I got Jordan Love. Yeah, too many
Leah,
good quarterbacks.
what's going on with us? We might have
It is
a virus. We have 3 top 10 quarterbacks so far, but
disgusting.
that changes now. For my third pick of the week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns +7.5 at the Chicago Bears. This sucks. I don't want to do this, but I have to. I make it under a 7. It's also a tough spot for the Bears, right? It's this game sandwiched in between huge games against their rival Packers, which will probably determine their chances of winning the division, going to the playoffs. Like they're still going to try here, but they need this game for the playoffs. All the pressure's on the Bears, but I could see them being just a little flat. It's going to be freezing cold. It's like -10. Like it's just going to be a running game, low scoring. I'll make the Bears prove that they can win by more than a touchdown. Look, there's also the Bears turnover regression. It's going to come at some point. Like Caleb's gotten away with some throws. Their defense not is not going to continue getting 2, 3 turnovers every single week. They lead the league by a wide margin in that department. If you remove turnovers, this defense is 31st in EPA per play. Kyler Gordon hurt again. Johnson still doesn't look right. So their secondary isn't fully healthy, and they can't get pressure. And in a game where both teams are going to run the ball, the Browns defense is first in rush success rate allowed. The Bears are 28th. Now, you might say, what the Titans last week? It is a concern of mine. But like, is Malik Collins now, is he like Aaron Donald on steroids where he's that important? I can't just say that Malik Collins being out now, this defense can't stop the run. He's a good player, but he's not that good. So I still think the Browns have the better run defense. Now, where it gets scary is this offense.
The
I thought
O-line.
Sanders has looked better than I thought he would. And luckily the Bears don't get pressure. So that might help with some of the sacks. And they're just going to throw short passes. They're going to throw it to my guy Fannin a bunch. They're going to try to run the ball, and you can run it on the Bears. The Browns also, by the way, the Browns are off two misleading finals. Like they outgained the Titans by, I don't know, 120 yards. Against the 49ers, that game was really unlucky due to special teams, botched fourth downs. I mean, the yards and yards per play were dead even in that game. And now we're saying like the Bears at 7.5. I mean, this is just too high. I think it should be under a touchdown. Now, where it gets scary, really, really scary, is the injuries to the Browns offensive line. This is my biggest concern. You have this offensive line with, I think, and like the defense has some injuries, but they're going to be like Collins. But I think Ward's going to play. He hasn't been great this year, but he should play. He has a calf injury. Otherwise, you're down to a guy who's just on the practice squad. But the offensive line potentially, I really hope Conklin plays, but it's going to be their 12th different offensive line combo because their center just went on IR. So you're going to get Weipler, who's horrendous. Now the sample size is small, but it's not good. But if you don't, so it looks like it might be Robinson, Batonio, Weipler, Jenkins, who I like. He's fine. And then at right tackle, you might have Leviston, who's unplayable. So Weipler and Leviston in there with a rookie quarterback on the road, it's scary. And they might not even just be able to run the ball because of that. But this Bears defense is not good. I mean, look, this is a Bears team that on the season, and I love this Bears team. I have bets on them to win the division over their win total to make the playoffs. But I mean, this is a team that they beat the Steelers at home with Mason Rudolph by 3. They beat, and that spread was 2.5. Like we're saying, the Steelers are like 5 points with Mason Rudolph better than the Browns. I don't think so. They beat the Vikings on a last second. But by 2. They beat the Giants coming from behind by 4. They beat the Bengals coming from behind by 5. So like they beat the Commanders with a bunch of like they won by 1. They beat the Raiders by 1. Like this team doesn't blow out anyone, doesn't get margin. I'm taking the 7.5. I think it's a good spot for the Browns. I'm sure the Bears will win. I'm sure if the Browns have a chance to win, they'll go for 2 and use a botched play to ensure they don't win for draft positioning. But I make it under 7 is the key thing here. And in a battle in the freezing cold where both teams want to run the ball, I still trust the Bears, the Browns run defense much more. So give me Cleveland. Curious to hear your thoughts here.
Yeah, I make this line around just under 6 actually, but I'm kind of holding out just because I really don't know what's happening with this O-line. Like, is Conklin going to be back for sure? I know, concussions.
I think maybe he wasn't there today.
Yeah,
that's his second of the year.
That's concerning. And so it's just kind of like Shador's been better than I expected. He's gotten the ball down the field a little bit. He's gotten the ball, to receivers who have made plays for him. But if this is like, that he could have peaked already, like this, because we've been waiting for him to just have like one of these absolutely horrible games, and it's like the entire offensive line essentially could be out. Because even you said Batonio, isn't he questionable too?
Yeah, but I think he's going to go from what I've been told.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's got a knee injury, that's not great. Like these guys are tough, but who knows if that affects him. So that, like, I'm really concerned about the cluster O-line injuries, especially because the Browns are such a tight end centric team.
Yeah, Njoku might not play either.
Yeah, and just like if you're gonna have Fannin having to chip, that's gonna just ruin your offense even more. So Bates, their blocking tight end, is on the injury report as well for somehow. So yeah, there's just a lot of injury information. But like all things considered, if the Browns are in reasonable shape, yeah, I would make this like under 6. So I'm just kind of holding out. I want to bet the Browns, but I got to see more from the injury report. We're recording this Wednesday afternoon. Haven't seen too much yet, but I probably need a Friday report, to be honest, just because their seasons in the tank are, who knows who they hold out and who they don't. But yeah, if all things considered, I do think the Bears are overrated here. And I mean, they won by margin against the Eagles, whose offense we see now is so. May join you, but gotta see the O line, because Shador behind a terrible O line. Remember that preseason game when we were in Chicago and it was like
Yep.
-27 net yard? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid.
It could go completely sideways, but I'm
I
taking the
mean,
7 in that. I'm
you got
taking the
Shador and I got McCarthy, so you go wrong. All right, to close it out, my third and final pick and the 6th overall of this Week 15 6-pack. I'm going with the Washington Commanders +2.5 at the Giants. See if this gets to 3. I doubt it, but there is.
That's
I'm
what
starting
I'm
to see
waiting
some.
on. I'm
Yeah,
dying for a 3.
there's some cheap 2.5s out there, so it could get there. Daniels has been ruled out early in the week. However, Mariota this year has been better than Daniels. EPA per
This is one of
dropback.
my that was my one of the premises for why I bet the Vikings last week, because Daniels was starting.
There you go. Yeah, it's EPA per dropback. Mariota better. 0.029 to 0.017 success rate. Mariota 50.5%. Daniels 48.4%. Yards per attempt. Mariota 7.2. Daniels 6.9. The
Deep
Giants.
passing, he's actually throws the ball down the field. He's dealt with the blitz better. He's dealt with pressure better. I mean, Daniels has been miserable this year.
And 2 of your top receivers are back in McLaurin and then Noah Brown. Now you lost Zach Ertz, but you are deep at tight end. Bates is a really good blocker. They can, especially with McLaurin and Brown back, they don't need Ertz as much in this spot. So this Giants defense still bad against the run. The Commanders have Rodriguez, who's been very efficient, and they've just started to kind of get him going, but certain game scripts haven't really allowed them to. But the Giants overall, defensively, I know they fired Bowen, so they could be trending up. Who knows, coming off the bye. But 29th in DVOA, they're one of only 5 defenses worse than Washington.
And
Washington's
Washington will
better.
be able to run the ball here.
Yeah, and that's really what they've been. I mean, they've just been in so many negative game scripts. They haven't covered much outside of that Denver game. It's been, but their expected scores, they've been unlucky, very unlucky. They should have been a lot closer in a lot of those games. And then just a spot that we love.
Dog off a shutout.
Dog off a shutout. 62% against the spread since 2003 at 48, 29, and 2. Covering by over 2 points a game, 20% ROI. You go and look at the teams on the road in that spot. They're even better at 64% against the spread, covering by over 3 points a game. And then if you look at everything post-October, so essentially the second half of the year, also 64.3% since 2003, covering by 3.1 points per game, over a 20% ROI. And you also mentioned, these home teams coming off the bye in the division are overrated. They've been about 40% against the spread over the last decade or so. So like the spot for the Commanders are probably still the better team. And the Giants have just lost excruciatingly close games, or they'll get blown out. So Washington used to be a team that would struggle against the Giants, but they covered their last 3, I believe. Yeah, the last 3 games in this matchup. So like Washington here, like the adjustments Dan Quinn made defensively, it's still not a good defense, but against the Giants, they should be able to get it done here.
Yeah, and Giants are just going into like pure run it mode. And Dart, I don't think is going to run as much maybe after the concussion with them out of it. And I think that's one of their best weapons. But yeah, I mean, there's home field here is almost nothing. It's a team's home field is the highest when you have one team that doesn't play on the same type of surface, and it's not a division game, and it's at a different time than they're used to playing. This is 1 o'clock in division outdoors, and yeah, I mean there is At this point in time, there's almost nothing separating these teams. So I could make this like you could say that you could make this Giants -1, but this is a coin flip type game, and Washington's better with Mariota. I saw the announcement come out. Daniel's out, Mariota in, and I'm watching the board, and it went from 2 to 2.5, the juice
Yep.
2.5, and I'm like, just go to 3. So I'm
Yes,
waiting on the 3.
please.
It's also a good teaser piece. If it never gets to 3, maybe you compare it with like the Saints, getting them to 8.5 through 3 and 7 in a game that has a total of 40. Uh, that's a good teaser piece as well. So yeah, I agree with you here. They are much better. Their offense functions much more efficiently right now. It doesn't mean that Mariota is bad. I mean, Mariota is probably the best backup in the league, but he might be starting somewhere next year. It doesn't mean he's better than Daniels, but right now he is, and that offense is like Daniels dealt with injuries. Just has never gotten a rhythm with this offense. Um, so yeah, and Washington will be able to run the ball here. So I agree with you. I think this line is a little too high.
Yeah, again, shop around for the 3 or wait for the 3. 2.5 is not really going to change much, but we have seen some, the Giants kind of getting juiced -2.5. So Washington could get to 3, a juice 3. We'll see how that goes. But that is our Week 15 6-pack. Stuckey got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Shador Sanders. So barbell strategy. Not seem to leave. Like it. I got Mariota, McCarthy, and Jordan Love. So 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3 good ones. Hopefully I can make
Half
up
our
some ground.
quarterbacks are good.
Yeah, it's not good overall, but I need a week. Like you just can't catch you no matter what. Like go 2-1, hit whatever. Just you're just staying hot. So hopefully this is the week, but I'll see how it goes. That's our Week 15 Sunday 6-pack. Again, if you like to tail these picks, just look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description. Be sure to sign up for Action Pro for instant notifications when all of our bets are tracked. All right, now it's time for our favorite totals of the week. I will start us off since you started us off on the 6-pack stuck. I'm going with the Chiefs Chargers under 42. Maybe this gets to 43. I doubt it, but you could probably hold out. It is the Chiefs and 2 good quarterbacks, so it could get up there. But this Charger offensive line, you talked about it earlier. No Rashawn Slater coming into the year. You lose Joe Alt. Pipkins is questionable with an ankle. It's a short week. Since Joe Alt went down, they played 4 games without him starting. They've averaged 137 passing yards, 5.2 yards per attempt. They've given up 4.5 sacks per game, a 14.5% sack rate, which is absurd. The league average is like less than half that. 4.2 yards per play. It's just essentially like every play is like a below average running play. And their games have had an average total of 40.5, under 41 and 3 of 4. The Charger offense 23rd in weighted DVOA. You think of the Charger offense as, you got these receivers, you got Herbert. He hasn't really missed time or anything like that. Just got knocked out. So they're still 23rd in DVOA. And then the Chiefs, I do think they are the right side in this game, but their offensive line injuries are still concerning. Simmons on IR. He was 21st out of 80 in pass blocking grade. Juwan Taylor, Morris, both of those guys. Morris is out. Taylor's questionable. Smith questionable. Is he 100%? Who knows? But really, it comes down for me to this: the Chiefs could have success offensively, but it's probably not going to be the way they want. They're trying to hit these big plays, and they just haven't been able to do it consistently. This Charger defense, they're going to sit back in
this is the
zone.
game where you go back to old Chiefs offense, just dink dunk.
Dink dunk. 6.9% explosive play rate is 3rd lowest, and they're 4th in pass defense DVOA. They always find a way, even though they don't get a ton of pressure, but they're just well schemed. They're going to sit back. The Chiefs know they have to go up and down the field here. And then the Chargers' weakness has been the run, which that doesn't really matter to me against the Chiefs. The Chiefs running backs are averaging 3.82 yards per carry, 27th. Pacheco is not helping matters really at all. So I think the Chiefs have to get long drives, and the Chargers, I don't know if they can score at this point. So yeah, give me the under in Chiefs Chargers. Also, this is a game. This is not even like the 41.5 that we got with the Eagles, because that game was indoors. This is in Arrowhead, outdoors.
It's
Kansas
going to be like
City,
8 degrees.
right? And it's a Charger team, used to playing indoors. Kansas City as a home favorite in the Andy Reid era. So that's over a decade now. 74, 38, and 1 to the under, 66%, 28% ROI this year, 5-0.
18-6 home unders last 3 years.
Ridiculous. Yeah. You said it last week with the Chiefs. Just they've been an under team, period. But this is like another one of these under matchups, even though on paper you think, okay, it's decent quarterbacks. But I mean, what was it? A total of 47. The Chiefs scored the Chiefs got like every yard possible on their last 3 drives in that season opener, and the total went over by 1. So this is now you're talking about second division game, outdoors. This is got underwritten all over it.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to win this game like 24, 27-10. All right. For my total, I'm going to go with another one of our favorites, an Eagles under. Eagles Raiders under 38.5. Eagles offense is broken. It's not going to be fixed. By the way, if you're an Eagles fan, obviously this season is like mirroring 2023 with Brian Johnson and all the offensive coordinator issues. He started off hot, basically just winning a bunch of close games, and then the season cratered. At the end, I think they lost 5 of 6, gave away the division, got blown out by the Bucks. I think that's the way this team is headed. But they lost in week 15 to a
Cardinals?
to a Pete Carroll team
Oh.
with a Geno Smith backup. They lost to Drew Lock and the Seahawks in week 15. Also, after that, they lost as an 11.5 point home favorite to the Cardinals
Yep, that's
in
what I was
December.
thinking. Yeah.
Crowd was booing. So, like, I don't know. I thought about playing the Raiders at
Same.
11.5, 12 with Pickett. Pickett's going to be in there. Pickett can at least move around, which you need to do with this offensive line. This offensive line is, whew, it's worse than what the Browns could potentially put out there this week. It is so bad. They can't do anything. They can't run. They can't pass protect. So Geno just takes crippling sacks. Pickett can at least move around a little bit. But the Eagles are good against tight ends. I don't think anyone is going to get open for the Raiders. They're not going to be able to run the ball. But they're going to play a lot of zone.
Yes.
The Eagles cannot do anything against zone.
No.
They're going to make the Eagles move the ball down the field. They're incapable of doing that right now. And the Eagles are just going so slow. There's no creativity. This offense is a disaster.
It's a Jalen Hurts problem. It's a Jalen Hurts problem through and through because, all right, people want to blame the coordinator.
I think the coordinator's out there. I mean, the creativity, the route trees, the lack of motion, play action under center. There's things that they could do, but the offensive line also you have to blame some of it. But Hurts has to take a big brunt.
I mean, look at it this way: it came out that Hurts asked for less design runs, right? So already that's happened, right? So already you're seeing that Hurts is hamstringing the coordinator because the coordinator doesn't have this full arsenal at his disposal because Hurts doesn't want to run. Okay, they're not replacing those Hurts design runs with like Barkley design runs or Bigsby design runs or like they're just replacing them with passing plays, and Hurts can't read defenses. So it's just like if he's not scrambling as much because he's trying to get through his progressions to try to prove that he could do it, but he's just making bad reads and throwing bad balls. So it really I think comes a lot more back to Hurts than people think this time, just because you could see that he's trying to do these things that he can't do, and he's not doing the things that would make this offense better. And he's trying to say like, oh, all I care about is winning and it's on me. But bro, like your running attempts are way down. This reminds me of Russell Wilson, of like Broncos Russell Wilson, when all of a sudden he just like didn't want to run the ball and he just kind of wanted to prove that he could, throw downfield and be a pocket passer, and it's career unraveled. So Hurts is like dangerously close to that. It's the Eagles, so they'll probably just get it right and he'll come out and run like 15 times. But I think it's a lot more on him than the coordinator, to be honest.
Regardless, it's a mess. So I'm going under.
Yeah.
Under 38.5. Even with Pickett, it's hard for me to see this Raiders team sustaining.
Yeah, that's why I don't.
Any drives. Pickett can run around a bit and then get some first downs, which will help with like field position and the clock instead of Geno just taking sacks the entire game. Um, so yeah, but this is the Eagles are just that. No matter who they play, they go like a whole half without scoring.
You can't be in the modern NFL as a quarterback and not be able to beat zone. Like it doesn't. It's just like you see so much zone coverage. Like I think there was a stat that I heard earlier this week. Jordan Love and Sam Darnold are the only two quarterbacks that have multiple touchdown passes of 40 plus air yards. Like it's not that kind of league anymore where you're going to get your man coverage and you can take your shots. It's like if defenses know that you can't read the field, and they're just going to sit back and make you make reads. And Hurts is like bottom 5 in yards per attempt on the 0 to 9 yard range. Like he can't just put the ball in there and give his receivers like space to keep going. Like you can't win.
Broken.
Like
it's broken.
You can't win like that. Yeah.
And it's week 15. You don't just fix an offense in week 15.
Yeah, like Sirianni tried to come out and take some of that and say, "Yo, yeah, I spent more time." It's like, bro, yeah, I went back. Like Hurts literally had the first 2 turnover play in history, in modern history. Like it's ridiculous. It's almost too like I think I might have to just sprinkle some on the Raiders money line because this could just be a glorious meltdown.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett revenge game.
Oh my God. Kenny Pickett's just so crippling though. He's like. Yeah. All right, let's just
better than what Gino's doing right now, which is all he does is just take sacks.
You know what the problem is? Pete Carroll and this Raider coaching staff is like the Jalen Hurts of the fucking coaches right now. It's like just lost the plot completely.
It's bad.
Lost the plot, yeah. But yeah, like the under.
But they will kick field goals to cover. So
right. Oh yeah, but it's outdoors. They might miss field goals too, so they get that working in your favor as well. Jake Elliott, shaky. Oh, you're talking about the Raiders. The Raiders will.
No, I'm saying they kicked the field goal. Shout out to Pete Carroll for that.
Yeah.
But Elliott's been shaky. But some are saying it's because of the long snapper who they cut. That'll solve all your issues, Eagles. Cut the long snapper. But they're bringing back the guy who Elliott was good with. I don't know.
They're the only team that could get their number 1 wide receiver going with like 3 straight 100-yard games and lose all of them in like horrifying offensive fashion. Like something's like, yo, it is just bad there. It's almost as bad as like the Falcons when Drake London's out at wide receiver. It's like, we're gonna have like eight guys who can't play special teams or offense. But anyway, let's move on. Our totals: Eagles, Raiders under 38.5, Chiefs, Chargers under 42. See if that one ticks up. 41 and 43 are a lot more key than 42 as a total. Nothing's really worth paying extra for, but just see where that lands. All right. Let's go to our money line underdog parlay. Stuck, you've been red hot on these. Had the Bengals last week. They had the game in hand for a while and just puked themselves late. So
that pick 6 was killer.
Yeah. The Bengals just have, talk about excruciating. The whole division is just
It's just excruciating losses for the Ravens and Bengals.
Yeah, always.
I'm going to go. Who did I have last week? I had
Steelers? No, you didn't have the Steelers. You had the Titans.
Oh, the Titans, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Saints here. No, like
here we go.
They've been feisty. Shuck has looked decent. Panthers aren't going to get any pressure. This is road Bryce Young. I think this line is too high. Yeah, give me the Saints at home to beat the Panthers, who I think are getting a little too expensive in market for that Rams win. Which, the Rams did whatever they wanted. The Panthers scored on 2 4th downs, got a bunch of turnovers. They gave up 8 yards per play. Young's not the same on the road. This defense still isn't great. They're not going to get any pressure on Chuck. So I liked what I saw from Devin Neal, by the way, last week.
Yeah.
Against a good run D. So I think he gives them a little more juice because Kamara is washed, right?
Yeah. He's almost as washed as Taysom Hill.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think this is more like basically a coin flip game. So I'll take the Saints.
Yeah, Stafford has this it's like when you're chasing after the girl and then you finally smash and then it's like post nut. It's like Stafford after that touchdown against the Panthers is just like pick. After you went after you set the streak for most touchdowns without a pick, it was just like everything was disastrous. Yeah. The Panthers didn't really earn that that way. I mean, obviously, they were in the right places, but I could see this being just a stupid kind of game. Division second division matchup.
I mean, it's
Panthers
the
already
Saints team that already
lost
beat
50.
them, dominated them with Chuck in
Yeah.
Carolina.
All right. Speaking of these Ravens and Bengals with excruciating losses, somebody has to lose this game excruciatingly. So just give me the points, give me the money, give me the juice. I'll take the Bengals at plus 124 here. The Ravens, it's probably not as bad as it looks. They got two likely touchdowns that should have been touchdowns that weren't touchdowns over the last couple of weeks, but it's still not right. Like Lamar's not completing 60% of his passes, and what is that, 5 straight games now? He's just a little bit, he's a lot of bit out of rhythm. The offense is very tight end centric, which does work to their advantage against the Bengals, but they still sloppy turnovers. Ended up with a 32-14 loss in that first meeting. Now you're going to Cincinnati, but the Ravens are still 6-7. The Bengals are 4-9. So the Bengals are gonna probably be the more desperate team, even still. So I could see another sloppy Ravens inexplicable loss here. And I thought the Bengals, looked really good against the Bills for most of that game. Puked it away at the end. Could absolutely happen, but you're facing the Ravens team that can do the same. So give me the Bengals plus 124. Defense has been a little better as of late. I don't know how. It's been a little better.
Oh,
So
Sai's been good.
yeah.
I mean, Turner's been good. Their rookie linebackers played a little better. They've changed some things schematically. I mean, you could throw out last week. It's Allen and Burrow in the snow. No defense has a shot. Uh, Classic Snover. But yeah, their defense has played a little bit better. So they're trending up. I mean, I don't blame you for taking the Bengals as my dog until there's a chance that the Ravens are running out of time. But there's a chance that Lamar, and he looked a little better in the second half last week, but he's dealt with like 3 injuries. His on target rate is way off. His catchable ball rate is way off. He doesn't have that same burst. There's a chance that like it all comes together, but until we see that, I can't project that that's going to happen. Um, and the Ravens' defense has been good against the run. They're still okay on that side of the ball, but they don't get pressure. That might end up being their downfall. I really wish they would have gotten an edge rusher at the deadline. They can't get pressure at all. So like if you can't get pressure against Burrow, he's gonna pick you apart. So yeah, I think this will be like a higher scoring uh game that maybe it's like the last team with the ball. But until Lamar looks better, he's just not trustworthy. I played the Bengals 15-1 to win the division this week, uh, which is at DraftKings. I know they're 4-9, so they have to win out to get to 8-9, which I think might win the division. And if they do, they're going to win the tiebreakers. And then you look at the Ravens, they have 6 wins, right? So if they lose this, they still go to Green Bay. They have New England at home, and then they're at the Steelers. Brutal finish to the year. And the Bengals would have swept them, better division record. And the Bengals, by the way, after this, they have, doing this off the top of my head, they have the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Cardinals with 3 or 4 at home. So they win this game. I think there's a good chance they get to 8, go 8-9. Then you have the Steelers. Steelers have 7 wins right now. So you need the Steelers to go 1-3. Steelers are home against Miami, who's playing a lot better. They're a field goal favorite. Then they're at Detroit. They'll be a 6, 7 point underdog. They then they're at the Browns. I could easily see them losing that game in Cleveland. And then they're home against the Ravens. Like Ravens are either going to be playing for their playoff lives or trying to ruin the Steelers season. Not an easy path. So is it likely? No, but I think it's worth some couch change at 15-1. Um, and the other bet I placed was the Chiefs to make the playoffs. It's I think the Colts are dead,
Yep.
so you can throw them out. And then the last playoff spot is basically going to come down to the Chargers and the Chiefs. The Chargers are at what? What is their record right now? Yeah, Chargers are
Oh,
nine
they're
and
9 and
four.
4. Oh, geez. I
Nine
thought
and
they.
four.
Okay.
Chiefs are 6-7. So
Yeesh.
what has to happen? Chiefs have to win out, number one. They got to get to 10-7. That's their best case scenario. if they win this week against the Chargers, and I think they do, they're going to have a good chance to get there. They host the Broncos, they play at the Titans, and at the Raiders. Very easy schedule down the stretch if they win this game, and I think they do. So, and if they do that, if they get to 10 wins, and the Chargers lose this week, obviously that needs to happen, and the Chargers also lose at the Broncos, Chiefs win the tiebreaker. If the Chargers lose one of their other two games, and their other two games are at Dallas and home against the Texans.
Who destroyed them in the
Yeah, I mean
playoffs.
the Texans D line against that offensive line, and at Dallas, there's a
Gonna have to
chance the
score.
Chargers
Yeah.
lose out,
Yep.
and the Chiefs just pass them anyway. But if the Chargers go 1-3, and the Chiefs go 4-0, and one of those games is Chargers at Chiefs this week, they're going to win the tiebreaker. As long as one of the losses, or as long as the Chargers lose at the Broncos in the regular season finale. And a very interesting thing is there's a chance that the Broncos are playing for the 1 seed on the final week of the season at home against the Chargers. And by the way, that Broncos defense and against that Chargers offensive line on the road. But there's a chance they're playing to get the 1 seed. But if they do, they let the Chiefs in, and then they would play the Chiefs if the Chiefs win their first game.
That's
Uh,
nuts.
so yeah. But those are a couple of the long shots that I took.
Yeah, now I'm on the same page. I'm thinking of fading the Colts, betting on the Chiefs, and betting on somebody uh in the North that is not the Steelers. And
Yeah, I
I
think
think
if you want to bet the Ravens now, you bet them to win the Super Bowl because in order for them, I mean, you can take some division, but it's like plus 150. If the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl, I mean, to win the division, they got to win like games at Green Bay or home against New England or at Cincy or at Pitt. Like they're going to have to go 3-1 maybe to win it. That means that Lamar has turned it on. And if that happens and they win the division and the Ravens are in the playoffs, this with this AFC playoff field, um, the Ravens are going to be, I don't know, probably my pick to win the bracket. Um, and the crazy thing is that they might host the Bills. You're gonna have all these teams. You're gonna have like the Jags, the Broncos, the Pats, um, and then the Ravens and Bills playing each other in the first round. So Texans are dangerous as well. But yeah, that's how I would play it.
yeah, and I mean, depending on it would get real interesting if at least one of those teams does miss, like the Chiefs or the Ravens or the Bengals, because now you're dealing with like you have all these teams that are like solid teams that have flaws, but if you don't have to go through like a Mahomes and a Burrow, it's just like one or the other, and and the Ravens are choking away games if they even get in. It's like it might be the Bills and just everyone else, and
Yeah.
that that could get
But the
real
Bills have
interesting.
flaws too this year.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like it gets so it's yeah, it's I think it's a
But if like
fun
Mahomes and Lamar and Burrow aren't in there, Allen,
has
you
to
got to
be.
get it done this year.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, they
I
already lost
I
to the
I will be
Pats.
rooting for him.
They lost to the Pats, and I mean, but they beat the tail off the Broncos in the playoffs last year. I think that game would be closer this year, and it would probably be in Denver.
Yeah, it would 100% be in Denver.
And then somebody might have to go to Jacksonville in just kind of that could be weird too. Jacksonville could steal a game if they can. What are they in the third seed right now? Third or fourth?
Yeah, and the Jags can run on the Bills like that.
Yeah, it's wide open.
Yeah,
So
the
I
AFC
think
is
this
what the NFC used to be, and the NFC now is like there's a chance the Bears win 11 games and don't make the playoffs. That's what I'm worried about. So
yeah.
the NFC is loaded this year.
So you got Saints at plus 130 and Bengals at plus 124. So that is just over 4-1 if you parlay those two together. Now it's time for our anytime touchdown parlay presented by DraftKings. All right. I've been hot on these
Oh yeah,
last few
we
weeks.
can't get two together.
Yeah, you started the year hot. I mean, I take some of the blame for that. Sometimes I kind of give you a little bit of a lean and hasn't worked out. But you got a good one this week. Where are you going?
Yeah, this is my own one. Some weeks I just don't have any feel, but I'm going with Jake Ferguson against the Vikings, who struggle against tight ends. Ferguson, and there's a chance Lamb doesn't play. Um, Ferguson 6 touchdowns on 11 red zone targets in the first 8 games. Over the last 5 games, he has almost the same amount of red zone targets with 10, and he only has 1 touchdown. I think he's a little overdue here in a good matchup. Uh, so yeah, give me Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, and I mean, teams really use their tight ends against the Vikings. I think it's partly to do with the fact that they play a ton of zone, but they also blitz. So it's
Yeah.
teams just like to have more tight ends on the field. So like maybe you even want to hedge with Schoonmaker or Spanford or somebody like that. They'll be super long shots, but yeah, teams just play more tight ends against the Vikes too. But they have been very vulnerable. So I like that. I have Ferguson with the second most expected touchdowns just on the year among tight ends. I'm going to go with Isaiah Likely. I think you've gone with him on this pod before. He's plus 245 up against Cincinnati. What do we know about Cincinnati? Terrible against tight ends. They've given up 15 touchdowns to tight ends. That's the most in the league by 6 over second place. We've played 14 weeks. They've given up 15 touchdowns to tight ends. They should have given up another one or two, but Likely should have had another one or two, really two. Last 2 weeks got a touchdown fumbled out of the end zone and then one overturned that could have easily been called a touchdown. So I think he is a guy that's probably, I don't want to say due, but he's just been unlucky. And I think it's going to be Andrews and Likely are going to be front and center on the game plan. And Andrews been trending down a little bit. I know he had that rushing score, but I think late in the year, I want to go with the guy in Likely who is a little bit more spry here. So give me Likely at plus 245. The Bengals 29th in DVOA against tight ends. Surprised they're not dead last, honestly. But you parlay Likely and Ferguson, you get plus 660. So that was our anytime touchdown parlay presented by DraftKings. All right. Let's any games we didn't touch on. That Thursday night
Yeah, we
game,
got Thursday night
Falcons
game. I
Bucks.
mean, I think the line's too high. I mean, the Baker Mayfield since week 7 has been the second worst quarterback in the NFL. He's been dreadful. Buka has also been bad now. I mean, the Bucks were covering up a bad team early in the year when Baker was playing at an MVP level and they had to come back and win every game in the final minute. This is a bad football team right now. But I mean, the Falcons aren't great. Drake London's not going to go, and it does look like the Bucks. Like, is this the bottom of the market on the Bucks? They haven't covered 5 straight, and the injuries might be breaking the way of Tampa. Like Mike Evans, it looks like he's a go. McMillan off the IR. Wirfs, it looks like is going to go. Otten, it doesn't. Tyke Smith, no. Dennis, no. But then the Falcons, like, is Pitts gonna miss? And that's basically all who.
Their offense breaks without
That's all who
London.
Cousins throws to. I think he
He
has
doesn't throw
32.
anything over 10 yards on the field.
Yeah,
Nothing,
32
nothing down the
targets
field.
in Cousins' 4 starts. The next is Mooney with 16. And the only time Mooney catches it is when he goes out of bounds first. Um, and then the Falcons have some defensive injuries. So I think the line is a little too high. I don't think there's that much separating these teams. But it looks like the injuries there might be breaking the Bucks' way. And this might be the bottom of the market on the Bucks. Like maybe with better health, their offense starts, there's a little bounce here. Lean Falcons, but hate Thursday night football. Not running to bet it, but I might play the Falcons small, but no strong feel. Uh,
It
Jags,
feels.
Jets.
I was gonna say with the Thursday, it kind of feels like the Bucks are gearing up for this one. I mean, to get Evans and McMillan off the IR in a short week, kind of tells me that okay, we haven't been playing great, but if we, this is a division game. They might just beat the doors off the Falcons. I agree. I think the line is probably a little overinflating the Bucks, but just from a spot perspective,
This game
Falcon
is
offense is
actually
so broken without London.
super, super important for the Bucks, so that would make
Yeah,
sense
yeah. I guess
because
that sense.
if they win this game, um, then so if they beat the Falcons, they clinch the tiebreaker against the Panthers if they split. So they play 2 games against each other, which will decide the division. The most likely outcome is they split. And in that case, if the Bucks win tomorrow night, they have the tiebreaker. But if the Bucks lose, the Panthers uh, get the tiebreaker if they beat the Saints and split. So that's huge because not neither of these teams are getting a wild card. That's basically just going to come down to the division.
Yep.
And then if these 2 teams split, it might come down to the results this week. And if the Bucks win, all they got to do is win on Thursday night. Or if the Panthers lose, they'll have the tiebreaker. So it is a super important game. Uh, Jags Jets. I mean, the Jags are 13-point favorites. We don't even know who's going to be the quarterback for the Jets. I no idea. Uh, Lions Rams. I think the line is about right. I wanted to bet the Rams, but like I just think the Rams are going to shred their man, shred their blitz. They have more injuries in the secondary. I think the Rams can get interior pressure on Goff, but at 6 now, it's getting. I can't lay 6 just from a numbers perspective. Should be an entertaining game.
Would you take lines at above 6? Because it might be trending that direction.
Possibly. I'd lean that way.
Yeah.
At 7, yeah, but I don't think we would ever get that. Um, and then there's going to be it's like degenerate Dan Campbell. He's going to have a game where he's going to get a bunch of fourth downs, and then the Lions would like win this game, or they don't, and then they get blown out. I don't think they're going to get many stops. Titans 49ers, I'm pretty much on market 13. Uh, that's a lie. I make it like 12. So I think it's a little high at 13, but um, no interest. I don't want to lay like I would not lay 13 with the 49ers who can't get pressure on
No.
defense. Like that's just not a recipe for success. And then the last one is
Seahawks?
Seahawks Colts. Look, headline was 3.5. We are up to we are touching 14. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, you got to upgrade the Seahawks for last week. You downgrade the Colts again, and they lose Daniel Jones. Riley Leonard also got banged up. Also, their defense is a mess because you have I don't think
Ward.
Sauce Gardner's going to play. Ward probably
Yeah.
done for the year.
Oh,
But
he's
another
done. He's out. I think he went on IR. So
yeah.
might
So
be
like
done.
now your secondary, which is going to be a strength, and then you don't have DeVaris Buckner. You're back to like bad Colts defense. Their right tackle, Braden Smith,
Yep.
concussion. So Riley Leonard, like I would have if Riley Leonard was healthy, like at 14, if the defense was in decent shape, like the Seahawks offense is kind of trending down if you dig into it. They keep scoring defensive and special teams touchdowns every week, but defenses are kind of adjusted to the Seahawks offense. Darnold hasn't been great over the past month. So like at 14, I think this is a bit too high. Like you can just Leonard and Taylor and just do like read option and just run the ball short in the game. Seahawks play the Rams on Thursday night, like a huge game. I'm sure they're not too interested in like running this up. But Leonard's not healthy, and you might be. I think Leonard's going to start. I don't know. All this, I really
Yeah,
don't know
same.
what is going on. All this hoopla about Philip Rivers. Is he going to start? He's 45. He's a grandfather. He hasn't played in 5 years. So, like, how do you project what that is? I don't even know how to come up with a number for what the downgrade from Riley Leonard to Philip Rivers is. I how do you? I wouldn't even know where to start.
One guy can run a little bit. The other guy can't move. They're
Yeah,
both.
I
They're
mean, he's
both. The
throwing
yards per
late.
attempt is probably both like sub 6 at this point. I mean, you can't. You can't. I mean, Rivers was solid efficiency wise in terms of like, but that was 5 years ago. He can't move, and
He's
his
going to have to
defense
throw
is
to like the
good.
tight. He's going to have to throw to Warren like 30 times.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But this defense,
Um,
like Seahawks are good. The Seahawks defense is not like it's. I can't imagine they would start Philip Rivers on like this short of a notice unless they
he
were
does
something if
know
they
the
had like an agree.
playbook at
Yeah,
least.
but like
I can't
he's
set a number. I have no
45.
idea.
He was throwing like horrible picks when he was 35 and 25. Like this is and the Seahawks all they do is blow the doors off of teams. So
I have
yeah,
no
I
clue.
could I would probably if it was Rivers, I would probably just weigh the 2 touchdowns, honestly. Leonard gives them a little bit of just feistiness, I think. But he's also the fact that they signed Rivers and are entertaining starting him tells me Leonard hasn't been great in practice either, and he's could be hurt. So yeah, it's a tough. I mean, I
No
think the
idea.
coach are just kind of. It's like some of these veteran coaches, like this is like the coach's best chance in a while, right? So it's like they're panicking. It's like they were sitting
The
pretty
Colts are
toast of the town, and now
effed.
it's
They
yeah,
went all in on this year
yep,
and next with Daniel Jones, who
yep,
now has a torn Achilles. They traded, and now you have Ward, who's done, and who knows if
yeah.
his career is done.
I mean, yeah,
You
he's
traded your
really torn
first
up about
round
his
picks.
daughter too. So like that, I mean, he might just he's kind of said fuck football. So I don't.
Yeah,
He
he's
could
not
be
been right
done.
mentally, he said. Like he's just
Yeah,
not in the right headspace. So he might. like just for physical and emotional reasons, might just step away. You traded your first round picks for Gardner, who then got hurt. You don't have your first round picks now. You're locked in with a hurt Jones. Richardson is a bust. And then you were 8-2, and everything looked so promising. In a month, it is dark.
Dark.
At least you have the Hoosiers in the end. So.
Oh yeah, the Pacers are doing terribly too.
The Pacers are tanking this year, right?
Oh my God, yeah, that Halliburton injury, terrible.
So
and meanwhile, the Thunder are 23-1.
It's messy. So it'll be interesting. I hope Rivers starts though, because it would be hilarious to watch.
Not on my bingo card. Phillip Rivers, age 45, like in 2025, but
insane.
It might happen. There's props for him up already. Crazy enough.
People were betting him comeback player of the year like right away.
At 11-1, which is horrible value. He's got like 4
It was
games.
25-1 when it opened. I think.
Okay. I saw it at 11-1. I was like, what the hell?
It got bet like immediately. Who's the comeback player of the year favorite right now?
McCaffrey. Oh, Dak is actually number 2. Wow. And then
Rivers is already. Last year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So now he's playing at MVP level.
It's McCaffrey and Dak, and I feel like depending on how the Cowboys do down the stretch, Dak's probably the value.
I mean, look, the path for Rivers to make it, I mean, they'd have to make the playoffs with Rivers. Like, that's not happening.
Yeah. And also, dark horse, if he keeps scoring touchdowns, Christian Watson. I mean, if he just gets like 1 or 2 touchdowns every single game and the Packers just finish with 3 losses, I wonder if they just give it to him. McCaffrey slows down. They'll probably just give it to McCaffrey, though.
I also saw Brandon Anderson bet Immoore defensive rookie of the year. I like that. I don't know what that price is now, but
he's 3-1. He's the
it was like 30-1 earlier in the week, so never mind.
Schwarzenegger's a big favorite.
Who's the favorite?
Schlesinger, the Browns linebacker.
Yeah, but
minus 450.
But I can see him fading, and then if even we're in like these big games down the stretch,
yeah,
he's really coming on, and he's a player. All right, we got to stop rambling. We got some good quarterbacks, people, for you this week. So
yeah,
it's better than last week. Last week was the worst. We went 4-2, but it was the worst crop of quarterbacks. That's why I'm worried.
We gotta hit our touchdown part. I think the one time we hit it, it was like, what was it, Genty and Hunt, like the most boring one. But yeah, that's our that is gonna do it for our week 15 Action Network podcast. You can find Stuck on BBOC and the Favorites podcast. I'm on the Fantasy Flex. Be sure to check out @Playbook on Twitter. It will build you bet slips. Stuck is on Twitter @Stuckey2. Twitter, X, whatever you call it. I'm at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until week 16, let's get this money.
Let's go.